businesses in the age of Corona, like Jack Dorsey, for example, just said that people at Twitter were going to be able to work at home indefinitely.
Mm-hmm.
And gaming companies, software companies, anyone that has a remote distributed workforce is doing pretty well right now. So from your perspective and the companies that you're advising, like what are you thinking about in terms of the future of these different startups, different innovations that can be created to live in the age of Corona? Because whether or not you agree with it or not, you're going to have to deal with whatever is going on.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Well, I think everybody was behind when it comes to remote work. Um, that was a coming thing anyway. I think that Corona just rushed it along, right? Thankfully, I think that's one good thing that came out because, I worked with tons of startups and some founders were like, oh, we need you in the city, twice a week or something like that.
Hmm.
And really it's because they just want to like micromanage and just like see your face, right?
Right.
But it's like you do realize that I'm less productive in the office than I am at home. Like
Yeah.
I can really like get in my groove. I set my own schedule, but some people are very traditional. I mean, I can understand it because sometimes what happens is founders are getting other people's money. So they're like, if I'm going to be hiring you and paying a salary, plus I'm a black dude with dreads. Right? So it's like, is this dude going to run off with the money?
They want you in the office, right?
Yeah. But they have no idea, how much more deadly some people can be at home.
Right.
So I think that's a good thing now that a lot of businesses are seeing that way. So what I started thinking about, you mentioned the kids and them, being school from home. I'm like, so potentially the school system could change, right? So teachers will be I'm predicting some sort of teacher role change,
Right.
where it goes from teacher to tutor, or class administrator, where students are more taught from videos, and then given assignments. That's what I'm seeing, right now with my kids in school. They're sending them, they're doing a class, some class work, some live class a day with an instructor,
Right.
but the rest of the day is mostly like supplementary videos for education, and then some online assignments, which to me says, this teacher role is going to change, right? I also think that these teachers are unqualified for the job that they're given. So I think somebody more qualified would probably come into that role as a class administrator.
Yeah. No, I totally agree with that. I mean, in terms of like when your kids are learning at home and you're at home working, do you see a problem with that? One of the benefits I see to working at home is when you think about like early US or whatever, people had a farm or they had a ranch or something, and people were at home, and then you went to a school that was part of a community. What I feel like is working at home culture is everyone's at home. There's more time with the significant other. Like if you talk about maternity leave, if people are working at home, you can have a small maternity leave and then people could stay at work home longer and maybe they don't have to lose that job.
Mm-hmm.
So I think there's like different ways you can look at it. The other thing with the education system that I think about, I'm taking Harvard, Stanford courses on edX for free. And when you think about education, I think about this with startup advisor or people you would hire for a startup. Why would everyone go to the most local community school or educator versus the best educator possible? Right. And then the other way to look at this is, okay, how about the best educator possible for your learning style?
Yeah.
And then what you could do is now you're creating this content for everybody. Now there is problems with this if like someone gains control over the educational centralized system. Right. But I see innovations in this area like totally ripe for these kind of things. All the points that you were making, like about, some people are scared if you're not there. I worked with like a Stanford startup, for example. They hired a lot of young people. So they're worried like people were going to, drink or smoke at home or not work as much as they can, but don't hire those people. Why are you hiring those people if you can't trust them? If you hire somebody, you should be able to trust them, whether that at home or, they're working in the office. So right. I think this is,
I like your idea. I like your idea about the educational system. And I see that threat of centralization. If it were free market, that would be awesome. Like how awesome would it be to say, hey, fine, you want a centralized standardization of education. maybe through some sort of test, right? Testing to make sure children are being taught and
Right.
meeting certain requirements. But what if parents could choose based upon online institutions, right? Um, and like you said, based upon your style, based upon, if you need, if because some children work better when they can, ask a tutor right away certain questions, and get comfortable. And you see sometimes they excel better than the kids that think they got it right away. So everybody learns different. So I think the free market could handle something like that. I don't think the government could. If the free market can handle it, I can see education even being free if you incentivize nonprofits, right? Say, well, nonprofits can participate in these educations. You have these online schools, and they'll be able to say, hey, we can handle this amount of students, blah 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 blah. I think it's great, and also it gives I think it gives jobs to a younger demographic. People always talk about, kids in college can't find a job, like in
Right.
in college, right? Well,
Right.
that's a great job for some of these kids to have. Could be teaching the next generation, right? Yeah, I think that's a beautiful idea you got there.